It's Ash from Super Videos, back for another video for The Walking Dead. In this video, I'm gonna be talking about Tales of the Walking Dead and what I think Tales of the Walking Dead should have been and what I was expecting from the show. Now obviously there's 2 more episodes left of Tales of the Walking Dead, and it's very likely that I will enjoy those 2 episodes just like I enjoyed the 3rd and 4th episode, but there's also a chance that I won't like them and I'll feel similar to how I felt for the first 2 episodes. But regardless, I don't think anything will change my mind about what I feel Tales of the Walking Dead should have been. Now I will consider and incorporate what they already did in the episodes that I've watched to kind of explain what Tales should have been. So it's not like I'm completely ignoring everything that happened in Tales. I will be looking at that as well. So stay tuned, we'll be right back to break it all down. Alright, as always, before we dive into it, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. With that said, let's dive right into it. Now the way I'm gonna do this is I'm going to be going through 6 episodes one by one, and the way I as a fan would have liked to see these episodes and what I would like to have seen in those episodes. And these episodes are gonna include episodes that we either saw in bonus episodes of The Walking Dead in season 10, as well as bonus episodes in Fear the Walking Dead, and also some of the episodes that I enjoyed so far from Tales of the Walking Dead, as well as episodes that I feel we should have gotten for Tales which we haven't gotten yet. So with that, let's start with the first episode. I think that the Fear the Walking Dead bonus episode, Dead in the Water, would have been a pretty interesting episode to kickstart these Tales of the Walking Dead episodes. I feel like it was definitely a missed opportunity for them to have this episode separate and not bring it into Tales of the Walking Dead, because I feel like this episode was much better than I anticipated, and I think that it was an episode that a lot of fans would have enjoyed a lot more if it was marketed better and if it was packaged in the right way and presented to us in the right way. Obviously, this episode did a great job in filling the gap in how Riley, Teddy's right-hand man, found him, while also explaining to us who Riley was, the fact that he was someone working in the submarine and someone who knew a lot about the nuclear capabilities of the submarine and how to operate it and so on. And all of that obviously fills the gap about how Teddy knew so much about the submarine and how he was able to come up with his whole scheme or plan to nuke everyone and start over. So I feel like this would have been a pretty awesome episode to kickstart the Tale of the Walking Dead episodes. Obviously we had a unique and different environment, and we saw things from a perspective that we've never seen before. So that was really what made this episode fairly interesting and unique in my opinion. So after this episode, I feel like they could have done an episode with Beta, so a Beta backstory episode. Now I know that they gave us a little bit of his backstory on the original show, but it wasn't really his backstory. It kind of subtly described certain things to us in passing, but we didn't really see it in the way that I feel like we should have saw it. So in my opinion, a Beta backstory episode would start prior to the outbreak, where we actually see Half Moon, aka Beta, as a country star, and then we could have seen him being confronted by the fall of society and the outbreak and having to deal with that, and watching him trying to survive and follow his story up to a point where he loses his friend, which we obviously got to mention about in the backstory episode in The Walking Dead's original show. And at that point we could see what happens to him to make him go insane, and how the fall of society or the breakdown of society impacted a successful country star to become an insane killer like Beta. So I think a backstory episode for Beta should give us that concept, because that's not only filling the gaps in what happened to him, but it's also kind of giving us an insight into the character that we didn't really see on the original show. Now, if Tales of the Walking Dead has a second season, this would be a great episode to include. Next up, I feel like one of the episodes of the bonus of season 10 of The Walking Dead, called One More with Robert Patrick, would have been a pretty awesome episode to include. Obviously, this episode included both Gabe and Aaron, and it was definitely a very fun, twisted, and entertaining episode that I feel would have got more recognition if, again, it was marketed right and it was packaged in the right way and it got the same treatment as any Walking Dead episode and not a treatment as really a COVID bonus episode. Next up, we can't really ignore Negan. I feel like the Here's Negan episode that we saw in the bonus episodes of season 10 should have been brought into Tales of the Walking Dead. Now, you may say that they didn't know at that point they're gonna have Tales of the Walking Dead. Well, they should have known that they're gonna do something with this pretty popular character. You know what I mean? So I feel like it was definitely a missed opportunity to not have the Here's Negan episode be a part of Tales of the Walking Dead. This episode was obviously great because it told us Negan's backstory, which we saw in the comics, but it added a lot of elements or layers to the story that we didn't really have in the comic, which I absolutely loved to see. But again, I feel like this episode could have been structured and presented in an episode in a way that it got the same treatment as any regular Walking Dead episode, instead of treating it as a COVID bonus episode. Next up, I feel like we should definitely get an episode down the line in Tales, if there's a season 2, with Abraham, Eugene, and Rosita. So that story could obviously tell us what happened to Abraham after he found his family murdered to the time when he found the survivors. And in that time period, obviously, he would have found Rosita and Eugene along the way. But this would be a great way to fill in the gaps and kind of explore what happened to them and what they had to deal with before we saw them in the original show. And obviously it helps that all of these characters in their own way are pretty popular characters that most, if not all, Walking Dead fans would love to see back in the story. More so with Abraham because obviously he's dead now, but with Eugene and Rosita, because they're still around, it doesn't have quite as much of an impact, but for Abraham it definitely does. And that's why I think it should start with Abe. The next episode is obviously the Alpha backstory episode, D, that we saw in Tales of the Walking Dead. I feel like this episode was awesome, not only because it gave us Alpha's backstory or more of Alpha's backstory, but also because it gave us a twist or reveal that nobody would really know about unless they watched this episode, which is the reveal about the previous leader of the Whispers before Alpha. So I feel like this is definitely an episode that was put in Tales of the Walking Dead for all the right reasons, and it definitely worked for me as a fan. Next up, I feel like we should definitely get a Governor backstory at some point. He was a character that was a fan favorite character, but they definitely missed a lot of opportunities to really give us the Governor that we should have got from the comics. So I feel like a good backstory episode for him would do a lot in fans not only enjoying seeing the Governor again, but also learning more about him and getting more insight into who he was as a character. They did a lot with him already on the original show as well, a lot of backstory for him, but I feel like there was a lot of missed opportunity for what they could have done with the character and what they could still do with the character as flashbacks for him. So I feel like this should definitely also be an episode on Tales of the Walking Dead. It should have been on season 1, but if not, then if there's going to be a season 2, then they should definitely bring him back and give him a backstory. Last but not least, they could end Tales of the Walking Dead with season 1 episode 4 of what Tales of the Walking Dead already is, with the episode called Amy, Dr. Everett, which was obviously the episode where we saw a 35-year time jump. Conceptually, I absolutely loved the idea of this episode and what it represented and how it gave us a completely different perspective into The Walking Dead and kind of a brand new perspective into what the future of The Walking Dead could be. But that's pretty much everything that I wanted to go through in this video. So these are the 6 episodes that I think should have been in season 1 of Tales of the Walking Dead. Some of these can still be done in season 2 of Tales, but some of them can't really be done because they've already been done in the past in some other way. But with that said, I'm definitely intrigued to know your thoughts and opinions about this. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.